Yep, we're recording now. Thank you, Ed.
Great. So this recording will be available on our website. So in case some of your friends miss it, they will be able to replay it. And hopefully we'll have this for future geocache treasure hunts, as a resource. But first of all, I want to welcome again everybody to our second geocache workshop in preparation of the geocache treasure hunt, which will be happening this weekend. Can we get a quick raise of hands? Who participated in the treasure hunt last year? Yeah, so us. So you guys should be experts, navigation experts. But for those of you who are new to the pack and didn't participate last year, this was an event we put together kind of on the fly, to comply with the COVID restrictions, to have a fun outdoor adventure. And it turned out to be a great success, and the families had a blast just doing this treasure hunt, on their bikes or riding their scooters and getting to explore our city and learn a little bit about its history. So what tonight is going to be a little introduction to what geocaching is and what kind of navigation is. And to help us out with that, we are so happy and honored to welcome back our special guest, Mr. David Hensley, who is with the Greater LA Council and a navigation expert. So, Mr. Hensley, I'll turn it over to you.
Me mateys, the Buccaneer Dave here, looking at all you smiling faces on this thing called Zoom. Everybody want to go on a treasure hunt? Oh, I know, I want to go on a treasure hunt. In the olden days, when I had to go on ships with big sails, we used to go on our treasure hunts and we had maps. And we used our compass. And remember, bigger the better compass at the time. But now, and we would find treasures. In treasure boxes like that. That's what we used to do. But now, with the new advent of technology, we don't have to have our compass anymore. What we can use is a GPS unit, a geopositioning system. And it's a receiver, and it receives information from satellites. And we enter the latitude and longitude of where we want to go. And that will then lead us to the treasure. Sometimes the treasure could be in little boxes like this, or even smaller containers. And I think even on a scavenger hunt, you just have to find information at the location you're going to. But remember, if you learned in school already how to navigate around the world, so we're giving coordinates. It's a left direction and a top and bottom direction, or what we call latitude and longitudes. And they are the way mariners, us buccaneers, used to navigate around the world for a latitude and a longitude. The longitude go this way around the earth, and that's the east and the west direction. And the latitude is the north and south direction. So we'll give you some numbers based on a circle. And circles we measure in degrees. So we'll give you something that will be a north degree, like 33 degrees north, and going west, we'll go 118 degrees west, and that will pinpoint us where we want to go. This time we won't be in Africa. It's a late time to buy the airfares. They would be too expensive. So I think Nancy is going to help make sure everything is in the Los Angeles area so it's more inexpensive. How about that? So you get your GPS unit like this, and they all come in various types. And like this one here, this is the one we usually like to use because this was made around 2005, 2006 vintage, but it's really easy for learners to use. It's more user-friendly. And then when today you can buy some like this, and it's touchscreen. This one has, you have to input the data just like you have to do on the TV for Netflix or something. If you'd want to do a search where they get that big grid for the alphabet and the numbers, it's the same way that you put in the numbers for this, but this one is touchscreen. And when I first started out, we had our little GPS unit like this. And for some of you really creative and technological savvy people, you can put one on your cell phone, an app. Wow, it really glows. Therefore, I have an Android. So this one is called the GPS Waypoint Finder. And it comes up, it's on my screen. It's not as bright as what you're seeing. So it comes up with a GPS unit that you can use on your cell phone. And what's really neat about the cell phone one is if you're out in the wilderness or out on the high seas, that it doesn't require cell phone service. You could put it on airplane mode, and because it's receiving signals from the satellites instead of cell phone towers, it will locate your position and save battery energy. How about that? So those are some of the devices we use. And then, like I said, then you input your latitude and longitude. Remember? That's how mariners found ourselves on the globe. The coordinates, and I think Nancy, as part of your treasure hunt, will give you those latitude and longitude coordinates, and you put them onto your device. And then the device, I don't know if you can see this, that thing right there. Once you do that, the big arrow on your GPS unit will then point to the location of where the treasure is. How cool is that? So you do that, and then it will also tell you how far away it is. Wow, mine says 16.4 miles. Looks like we're not going to that one today. So hopefully the one Nancy will have will be a lot closer to you when you put the information is. So that is generally what it is and what it does. And for in scouting, you know, this learning geocaching can be part of your science, technology, engineering, and math accomplishments, because there's a lot of math involved that you don't see. Your cell phone or your item here, they're actually highly advanced calculators. Can you believe that? They take signals from the satellites up in the sky, like 12,000 miles above Earth. If you go there, you really have to hold your breath or being in a suit that you can breathe in. And then there will be a satellite. You see, I had one here. Could be, they're big as a mid-sized car. So if this is you, this could be like a satellite. It won't look like a stapler, but it'll almost be that big, you know, float up in space, 12,000 miles above Earth. And it will be sending signals down to your receiver. And there's a timestamp on it. This satellite, as some people might say, is, with all the evolution of technology, is really just a big fancy clock. It has 3 radio isotopes that run 3 different radioisotopes that run 3 different clocks, and it like averages the time, and it sends down a signal at almost the speed of light. Can you believe that? That your receiver, like your cell phone or your thing here, will receive signals from the satellite almost at the speed of light, but with, you know, all the segments are timed. So it will understand the time, and it uses the rate times time equals distance formula. Remember, this is like, because it could be STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Maybe some of you have studied about rate times time equals distance, because, you know, it's as simple as, you know, if you're driving in a car at 60 miles an hour and you're driving for 1 hour, how far did you go? Hope everybody said 60 miles an hour. So the signal from here, though, is going almost as fast as the speed of light. So it's pretty fast. And then this will receive it, and it can determine the distance between here and here. Wow. And once it determines that distance, but it takes 3 of the satellites to locate your position on the planet Earth, and with accuracy. So then, so it takes those 3, but the 3 would only be like 50 to 100 to 200 feet error that you could be off. So you need a minimum of 4 satellites to get a reasonable, accurate reading. So that's why when you turn, usually when you turn your handheld on, see if I can work. Oh. Did I get the wrong one? Too bad. Oh well. Cardboard luck. When you turn your handheld on, the first thing, oh, here it is. I have too many GPS units. So this one, I don't know if you could take, you turn your handheld on and it starts to warm up, and the first page, you can't see it, is a big circle, and on the bottom are bars, and the bars each represent a satellite. So remember, you need a minimum of 4 satellites to get any reasonable level of accuracy, around 15 to 20 feet. So remember, with those coordinates that Nancy gives you, when you put them into your GPS, and when it takes you to the location, when you zero out, when you get really close to that number, you know, like 1 mile, half a mile, a quarter mile, then it goes like 500 feet. You're getting closer and closer. When you get around to 0, that doesn't mean you're actually right at the cache location, because of the error that's in here is averaging, because you could be within 15 to 20 feet of the actual cache. So you have to look around to in that vicinity. And sometimes people give a hint, you know, like look low, look high, eye level, you know, things like that, so that you can help find the location of that geocache that you want. So, and then there's other pages on here. This is why we like this one. And then so you hit the little page button. It's like a book. This is like an electronic book. So it hits a page and it goes to another page in the electronic book. And this one will be a map, but it depends on your software that you have loaded here, whether it be a detailed map or not. So we usually don't use the map. So another one is my favorite part. It's the compass one. The compass one almost looks like this one. It has an arrow. Once you start, after you enter the coordinates, the big arrow on your compass page will point to the cache, and it will tell you how far away you are, So as long as the distance keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter, that means you're getting closer. But if the distance gets bigger and bigger and bigger, well, I'm sorry to say, you're out of luck. So that's why you have to watch that distance, make sure it gets smaller and smaller. Now, how do you put those coordinates in? Whoa. Every GPS unit is different. This one here, this is the one I like, the DeLorme PN40. It's real simple, because you hit the little thing that says a map pin. And the map pin then will have your latitude and longitude on it. That's where you are at existing. And then so to where you want to go, you can just hit enter, and you can scroll up to the latitude and longitude page where it's highlighted. And then you enter that to make sure you highlighted latitude, longitude. And now you can change those numbers. And when you change all those numbers, by this one here, it's real simple. If you just go left or right, it would go scroll down to the number. If you want to change the number, you go up or down, and it would change the number. So usually people under 25 can do it real quick. For us older ones, it takes us longer. So always keep that person that's under 25 or under around you real close so that you can do this real expeditiously. So
So, Mr. Hensley, we actually have a sample that we can show everybody.
a sample.
Yes.
Wow.
So let me share my screen here. And so everybody can get a better look, and maybe Captain Hensley, if you could walk us through it. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, so this is the title page, geocaching. And just to reiterate, these are some of the sample apps that if you don't have a handheld GPS unit that you can use. The one Captain Hensley recommended, GPS Waypoint Finder, is a good one for if you have an Android phone. And then if you have an iPhone, there's Commander Compass Go. And I'll talk about this a little later, but if you still can't find where you're going, there's always Google Maps, which might be useful for the younger scouts. But here is sample coordinates.
Oh, yeah.
And a clue actually from last year's course. And this is what you will be receiving as a starting point for our treasure hunt. So the clue is, I can run, but I cannot walk. I sometimes sing, but never talk. I have two hands upon my face. You check me to keep your pace. I'm sure some of you scouts can guess what we're talking about here, but you know, that's a sample clue that you would receive.
Wow, I like it.
And then you will also receive a set of coordinates, as you can see here, and which is what Captain Hensley was talking about. You know, there's two lines. The top one is the latitude, the bottom is the longitude. And these are, you know, a little technical term. You know, the number in the front is called the degrees. And then the second number is the minutes. And there's different ways to write it, but this is the decimal minutes.
Yeah, this is a more common format. Like you said, there's other formats that you could do, but this is the most common. So that's why this format was selected.
Right. And yeah, we're just going to stick with one format just to keep it simple for everybody. So what you do with this information then, and here's just a screenshot of using the GPS Waypoint Finder. I don't know if you can see my pointer here. So if you click on that little area of the app screen, it brings up these latitude and longitude prompts. And this is where you would input the coordinates. So as you can see here, for the degrees, we put in 34. For the minutes, we put in the 7.330. And for the seconds, you can ignore the seconds because, again, we're not using that format for our course. And then you always want to make sure you click north, N, because we are in the northern hemisphere. We are north of the equator. And then you want to do the same for the longitude. If you click on that thing, there's another thing for longitude. And again, you want to plug in 118 for the degrees, and then 6.3730 for the minutes. And once you plug that in, it'll take you to, you know, what we see here on the compass side. It'll tell you, as you can see here, the coordinates are in there now, and it'll tell you which direction to go. This is pointing, you know, this way, and about how far away it is. So this location is about 1.72 miles from where I currently am.
Wow.
So, you know, what you want to do is always follow the arrow. The arrow will always adjust. The arrow will always be pointed at the destination, and you just kind of have to follow it and to get there. Obviously, you know, we're not going to be walking through people's yards or over fences. You know, you'll be staying on the roads, but you always want to turn towards that direction. Which is kind of the tricky part, but also the fun part of geocaching. And then,
Yeah, that's really good.
yeah, so actually, let's see. Okay, so that's the way you use the GPS app. But again, as I mentioned, if you get stuck or if it becomes a little hard, difficult for the younger cubs, the easy solution or the kind of cheat code is to use Google Maps, which is where you would just directly plug in the coordinates into Google Maps on the regular Google Maps app you have on your phone, and that'll tell you exactly where that is. And if you click on Street View, it'll even give you a view of what it is. So as if you remember from the clues, it was talking about a clock, and this was the first destination in last year's course, the San Marino City clock right across from City Hall. So once you get there, you will actually have to look for the geocache itself. It's going to be hidden somewhere around there. As Mr. Hensley said, it's going to be about 15 to 20 feet. Is that the range?
Yes.
Yeah, so somewhere in this area, you will find the cache, and I'll have a picture of it somewhere here. Let me. So actually, here are the rows, but it's about the size of a Altoids tin. It's pretty small. It won't be hidden under anything. It'll be an open site, but you'll have to look carefully.
Yeah, that's one of the rules in geocaching. You can't bury it or conceal it such that you cannot see any part of the cache. The cache has to be somewhat visible.
All right.
And then sometimes what we say, it's having what we call a geosense, just like if you're having trouble finding it, just to say, well, if I was going to hide something so people can have a fun time putting it, where's the best place to put it? So you're not trying to be evil when you hide it so no one can find it. You're just trying to make sure that people not playing the game that you're playing won't find it by accident.
And last year we were lucky enough, I don't think we had any incidents where somebody accidentally took it or threw it away. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised about that.
In geocaching, we call the people that are not, geocachers, we call them, like in Harry Potter, muggles. They're just like regular people that do not know the activity that you're doing. So sometimes muggles, there's people around there, muggles around where you're looking and find it, and you find it and you put it back. Then some people standing, the muggles will look at it and are maybe curious to what you're doing. And sometimes geocachers will tell, oh yeah, we're on a electronic scavenger hunt, and this is part of it. And so, sometimes you can get them excited and interested. But if you do it stealthily, then sometimes someone will come over and see what you're up to.
So I think that's it about the coordinates. Again, if you have any questions regarding using the app or using the GPS unit, please feel free to reach out to me or to your den leader. Once you get the hang of it, once you play around with it, it's pretty intuitive, and it's fun to just let your scouts hold the unit and be able to plug in the numbers and actually lead the way. And I believe Mrs. Coe, could you confirm, do we have some units that will be available again this year?
I will pick them up from Mr. Hensley's house.
Great. So yeah, if you are interested in checking out or borrowing one of the handheld GPS units that Mr. Hensley showed, we will have those available for you. But again, if you don't, a phone is more than fine, will work just as well, even better maybe.
Yeah, probably at this level with the type of clues you're giving, even with the and geocaching, a lot of geocachers, sometimes may just use this.
All right. So I'll go over the rules really quickly. So one change, we are actually opening the course now starting Friday afternoon. It came to our attention that it is a minimum day at Valentine this Friday. So if you have a free afternoon and want to go on an adventure, you can start the course Friday afternoon, and it'll go. You're free to do it anytime during the weekend. All the way through Sunday. Sunset. We'll have the course clues out there. There's going to be a total of 12 clues spread out over the city. And as we mentioned in the email, the length of the course is about 3.5 miles. Is that correct? Yeah, 3.5 miles. So it'll give you good exercise. And remember, you go to the station and you look for the geocache. You plug in the next set of coordinates into your GPS device. And please remember to return the cache exactly where you found it, so the next group can use that as well. And at the end, at the final station, there is going to be buried treasure. Okay, not buried treasure, but there is going to be treasure for you as a reward for completing the course. As we've mentioned, biking, walking, or scooting is highly encouraged if you can do that. We just ask you to be safe and remember the rules that the Clubhouse taught us at our last pack meeting. And please take lots of photos. We want to be able to share those with the pack and also the local newspaper, the Tribune. So please take lots of photos and share them with us.
Oh, that's right. You had a local paper write an article.
That's right. Yep.
Last year. Oh, that was too cool.
So again, if you do choose to bike or scoot, just want to go over a few safety tips. Remember to wear the proper safety gear, a well-fitting bike helmet, and bright colored clothes so people can see you. Something like your pack t-shirt would do well there. And then remember the ABCs of biking. You want to check your bike. You want to make sure your tires are inflated well, your brakes work, and that your chain is nice and smooth. It's not snagging on anything. Since most of us are younger Cub Scouts here, we ask that you ride with your adult partner, your parents, your grandparents, friend. We want to try to avoid big groups. I know some of the dens might try to organize. It's more fun doing it with a friend, but we want to discourage big groups just because especially if you're riding bikes, we want to be safe. We don't want to take up the whole road or sidewalk. So just be wary of that. Observe traffic rules. Make sure you observe all the stop signs, and then when you're crossing streets, just make sure that drivers see you, and it's not enough for them to just stop. You want to make eye contact with them to make sure that they see you also. Since we are kids, most of our kids are under 10. Riding on sidewalks is okay. Just be safe. You don't want to ride unsafely or dangerously through a crowd of people. And if necessary, walk your bike. Just get off and walk it on the sidewalk or walk it across streets. Again, this is on bike, it'll probably take about 2-3 hours. So, make sure you have your Cub Scout essentials. You want to be hydrated, have a water bottle, a snack in case you get hungry, sun protection, first aid in case you get a scrape, flashlight and whistle. You can probably get by without that, but just in case you have, throw them in your pack. And here are some photos from last year. As you can see, we try to pick locations that are landmarks throughout the city or have some sort of historic significance. And I think we have a fun set of clues this year. This year's course is going to be just as fun, if not more fun than last year. Oh, and lastly, we have decided that this activity would qualify for the Outdoor Activity Award, which is a patch that Cub Scouts get to wear on their left pocket.
Oh, too cool.
Yeah, so if you complete the course, you will receive an Outdoor Activity Award for you to put on your uniform. And actually, this patch is really cool because There's other activity outdoor. The more outdoor activities you do, you get little wolf tracks that you can actually add to this patch. So it's something that you can keep on your Cub Scout uniform and keep embellishing as you do more outdoor activities. Do we want to do this yet? Actually, so I want to open it up to some questions. If anybody has any. You can raise your virtual hand or your real hand and we'll try to call on you. Any questions from scouts or even their parents? Yes, Brandon.
What happens when two people find the cache?
So you're asking if two people get there at the same time?
Yeah.
So yes, that is probably bound to happen, especially since our pack has nearly doubled in size from last year. And which is another reason why we added Friday afternoon to hopefully spread it out. But be courteous. Even last year when two scouts got there at the same time, they would both look for it at the same time. But if you want to not ruin the surprise, you can always wait a turn and let the first person finish up. But we just ask you to be courteous, and eventually the people in cars would go off to the next clue faster than the people on bikes. So it works out for the most part.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see, another question. Paul, is that?
Hi, hey Ed. I was just wondering what you're supposed to do with the cache when you find it.
So yeah, so again, the cache is basically just a clue. It's a little Altoids tin with a little piece of paper in there that has the next clue and the coordinates. So yeah, oh, there you go. Mrs. Coe is showing it. That's what it looks like. So what I would do is I would probably just snap a photo of it with your phone, just so you have it, and that way you can put it back, let somebody else find it, and then yeah, you want to plug in the coordinates and use the clue to try to figure out where your next spot is. Thank you,
Thanks.
Nancy. Let's see, any other questions? Good questions.
One of that question that Scout asked about if there's other people there at the same time. Well, what happens in the real world, the geocaching, you actually form a little team, and everybody will help search it together. So that, and they all, so that they, it's really a nice social event because you get to meet other people and you're all after the same objective. So it's not a competitive thing. It's more of a friendly item where they're all helping each other try to find it.
Any other questions? Oh yeah, feel free to put it in the chats too. Okay, there we go. So yes, are we given the first clue as a starting point? Yes, we will provide that to you. Actually, we'll provide that to you right after question and answer session. We'll also send it out as an email blast with some more of these tips for everybody in the pack, and also post it on the pack Facebook. Yes, so that'll be made available. How do you type the empty circle thing?
Hold down 0. So just keep your finger on 0 and it gives you degrees.
Yeah. Okay, so any other questions? I don't think I see any. Feel free to type it into the text box as well.
Wow.
Yes, do we have a question? first clue. Again, the course will not be open until Friday afternoon. So if you try to go to this spot tomorrow, nothing will be there. But you can maybe start thinking about it. So the clue is,
They can practice entering the coordinates.
yeah, practice engine, exactly. Yeah, download the app onto your phone or your parents' phone, and be ready to be able to do it in the field. So here is the first set of coordinates and clues. So the clue reads, I have a ring, but no finger. I will never ask you a question, but you will still answer me. Clark Kent hops into me to become Superman. Bill and Ted once went on an excellent adventure through time travel. And you will find your next clue in one.
You still can find those?
Yeah, I don't think, maybe a lot of our scouts probably don't even know what it is. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
But this is the clue. Again, we'll make this available through an email blast to everybody in the pack, as well as on our pack Facebook page. But yeah, we are really excited for you. We're excited about this course. The weather should be perfect, I think, this weekend. So yeah, we encourage you to go out there and find some treasure. Can we give a round of applause to Mr. Hensley? Thank you for the wonderful presentation on navigation and GPS technology. Yeah. And
No
again,
problem.
if you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
It was fun. Thank you.